Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is some surprise gun control that came up out of nowhere, out of Texas today, and passed a committee. Now, this is not law, but it's showing signs of Republicans in state legislatures flirting with gun control because of emotional pressure. This is something we all need to be aware of. It's all linked in the description box below for your review. And thank you so much in advance for watching this video, sharing this video, and checking that information out because you need to see it. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you turn the notification bell on. We need as many people as we can to get into the fold with us to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. And thank you in advance for your consideration. And the content tonight is brought to you by SDI. Now, I know a lot of you out there like to upgrade and modify your own guns. And if you're looking to turn a hobby into a career, Sonoran Desert Institute can help. Their online programs cover everything from gunsmithing to ballistics, woodworking and finishes, shooting sports management, and more. Plus, all the tools and materials are shipped directly to your door. There's never been a better time to turn a hobby into a career, so what are you waiting for? There's a link in the description box below, and thank you so much to SDI for making this content possible. And as we get into the topic for today or tonight, make sure if you guys caught a Biden re-election ad, you put it down in the comments on how they wasted their money, because we are trying to track that, because it's just good to see a visual representation of them wasting their money, as I said. But enough of the setup. Let's get to this. We got to talk about some flirtations. First in Tennessee, now in Texas. In shift, Texas House advances bill to raise the age to buy an assault weapon. Now, this is one of those things. First of all, assault weapon. They're talking about an AR-15. The AR-15 is a common use item. There are over 25 million of them in the United States. This is not something that you can just isolate because you think it's scary. This is a right. It is considered common use. Done. It won't be long until we get to the Supreme Court with assault weapons bans and magazine bans, and hopefully the right result will come from that when it happens. But this is something that's becoming a temptation for Republicans. We saw it a couple years ago in Florida. We've seen it in Tennessee, talk of it in Tennessee. They even opened up a special legislator to do the other one, which is red flag laws. And now in Texas, they're talking about raising the age. Now, these are 18 to 20-year-olds. They can vote, they can be in the military, they can sign up for legal contracts, they can buy homes, and they can be married. All of a sudden, they can't have this constitutional right. I'll tell you what. If the Democrats on the left want so badly to make it into something that's a right of majority to be 21, why don't we make it right of majority to be 21? You can't have a drink of alcohol till you're 21. You can't, you can't do that. You can't buy a gun until you're 21. You can't vote until you're 21. You can't enter contracts till you're 21. Why don't we do that? Because it would seem, if that was the desire, that would be a very easy solution. But the Democrats on the left don't ever do that. It's almost like the demographics 18 to 20 vote heavily Democratic. Do you see the game they're playing? You can have these rights, you can't have these rights. We can't make them all above 21 because then that would cut into our voting block. So let's just make it the gun rights. It's a game. But let's continue. Got more for you. This is what actually happened in Austin today. Austin, Texas. What had for years been a solid well of opposition among Texas Republicans to gun control showed small signs of cracking on Monday as a bipartisan committee of the state legislature voted to advance a bill raising the minimum age to purchase AR-15 style rifles. So this passed the committee. It would still have to go through the General House, be scheduled for a vote, and then passed. And then it'd have to go through the Senate, and then the governor would have to sign it. So there's a lot of roadblocks. But the point of this video is the Republican temptation of flirting with gun control through red flag laws and raising the age is still extreme gun control. Red flag laws are incredibly unconstitutional. Raising the age of 18 from 18 to 21 for a constitutional right is also unconstitutional. I digress. Let's keep going. The bill, which would raise the age to purchase an AR-15 style rifle from 18 to 21, must still be considered by the entire Texas House with deadlines to do so looming this week. Even if it were to pass, still an unlikely prospect, it would face almost certain rejection by the state Senate, where the hard-right Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick holds powerful control. It's just like when the Democrats hold powerful control in places like Michigan, California, Illinois. The powerful control is just something to make it seem like they're being nefarious. The point is, they're flirting with gun control through age limits, or raising the age limit, and red flag laws. Republicans need to stop doing this because it is a very slippery slope. It does not end well. But let's continue. Some Republicans in the state house on Monday talked privately about a new openness to the bill raising the age for purchasing of semi-automatic rifles, which had appeared destined to languish in committee despite relentless lobbying in favor of the measure by relatives of the children killed in Uvalde. Which, by the way, all these things are terrible. Don't get it confused. I'm not saying do nothing. What I'm saying is put more police officers out there, don't defund them. I'm saying hard and soft targets, don't defund them. And I'm saying have the ability for everyone to defend themselves. That's 3 options right there. But all you want to hear is ban something. Anyway, let's keep going. Though there have been some signs of gradual shifting on the issue, Republican primary voters in Texas continue to broadly support lawful access to firearms with limited restrictions, and most elected officials in Texas have more to fear from a primary challenge by a more ardent supporter of gun rights than from a general election fight with Democrats. Absolutely understood. That's correct. Same thing in Tennessee. If you are a Republican, the power that you have against Republicans who would turn on you like this would be to primary them out of their position. The fight in these scenarios is the Republican versus Republican. That's where all the big money is because the Democrat doesn't have a chance in some of these areas. Primary them. They're more afraid of you than they want you to realize. But let me continue. I got 2 more things for you because again, this reinforces the point. You have more power than they're letting on. Last year's convincing defeat by Mr. Abbott of Beto ORourke, a former Democratic congressman closely associated with greater gun regulation, inspired little appetite among Republican lawmakers for new legislation. The election took place after the massacre in Uvalde. And again, all of these things are terrible. They should never happen, ever. It's unacceptable. But it doesn't mean you infringe upon the rights of every single American in the United States because criminal behavior, as egregious as it is. Now, getting back to this point. Greg Abbott destroyed Beto ORourke. Mr. Gun Control, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47s. That worked out so well for him that Republicans even learned the lesson of, let's not mess with that. I say reinforce that. Stop flirting with the idea of 18 to 20-year-olds not being able to have constitutional rights. And if you have to absolutely do it, make it the age of majority and see how fast the Democrats fall away in not supporting it because it impacts them negatively. And red flag laws, those are unconstitutional. They are ex parte. You have no way to face your accuser. You have no way to have your day in the court. And red flag laws, by their principle, cannot accommodate due process rights. It's not possible. And that's why you've got to stop flirting with them. But got one last thing, and this is where the whole thing falls apart, because raising the age limit from 18 to 21 would have nothing to do with 33-year-olds. The legislation would not have been a factor in the shooting in Allen, where the gunman was 33 years old. But it might have delayed or prevented the gunman in Uvalde from obtaining his weapons. So we're going from a absolute known would not have nothing to do with the scenario, so we're going to do it anyway, to it might have, maybe could have on a Tuesday if the wind was blowing right. You're throwing away an absolute for a maybe. Hear me. This is not a good look, Republicans. You've got to stop flirting with this because even though the emotional pressure is high from gun control groups like Moms Demand Action, Every Time for Gun Safety, even though they're in the committee rooms with their red shirts that say Moms Demand Action, that does not represent the entire population. And remember that. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one. See you on the next one.